I'm going to tell you about the Alien Presence Detector. Now, this is an envisionment. The software has never been created. It's a concept, but ones I think you might like, especially if you've seen any of the Alien films. The story starts quite a few years ago. At Lancaster University, a system was installed with small screens beside each office door. On the screens, you could post notices for visitors who came, perhaps to say you're out of your office, but also if visitors came, they could leave messages for you. The early versions of this, you could only write with your finger or with a stylus. But the second version of it that was installed had a video camera and a microphone, so you could leave a video or an audio message as well. And this was installed throughout the buildings. You had a very powerful, flexible infrastructure. And the question was, were there other uses we could put this microphone and cameras to, given they were all the way around the building? Now, of course, the obvious thing would be a surveillance system, but we wanted to avoid doing that, and I don't think our colleagues would have been very pleased with us either. There's things you can have which have some of those elements of that. So rather than recording video and audio directly, you could use the video cameras and movement on those, sound on the audios, just to give a sense of busyness in the building. Now you could use that real time in order to sort of say, is the building very active? You know, if somebody's trying to decide whether they want to sort of visit or not. If it's too busy, they might not want to go there, or vice versa. Or you might use it historically to analyse it and get a sense of the movements through the building and that kind of thing. So that's one sort of use you'd have. It's a very anonymous thing. Going back further, there was a system developed in the 1990s called active badges, and this is still being used, or variations of it, in places, and it uses infrared. You have a badge with an infrared flashing on it, and that infrared is detected in the original system by a special infrastructure, so it can then locate where people are. Of course, if you've got cameras everywhere, infrared is detected very, very well by most digital cameras. So it'd be possible, instead of having special detectors, to use these in order to pick up the equivalent of active badges, and we could design something similar. That's got some strengths to it. So you can do things like, in the original active badge system, there's a system called PEEPs, which generated automatic diaries that would say, you've had a meeting with this person if you spend a certain amount of time with them. So you could see where you went during the day and who you met. That was very useful. You might use this to find colleagues. So if you're in a big building and you're thinking somebody isn't in their office and you think, I wonder if they're around, you could perhaps look them up and find perhaps they're in the coffee room and go to the coffee room. That sounds good. Of course, that's good if you want to be found. Some people don't want to be found. They want a period of quiet. Somebody might have forgotten their badge, or what was found certainly in some of the buildings that used this system early on, is people would perhaps have their badge on when they first came into the building, especially if the entry system used it, and then they would just leave it on their desk during the whole day. So it would constantly just say they were at their desk, and they weren't. They might be wandering around, they might be going to the printer, might be going to visit other people. So it only worked so long as people used the badge. And only if you had a badge were you trackable. Can we turn this round on its head so that instead of people who have the badge being trackable, perhaps we can have people who have the badge not be trackable? How might that work? Well, given we've got these cameras and the microphones everywhere, it would be possible just to detect from those movements that somebody is in a location. So you could use either from a video, movement on the video, or from the fact there's sound around. And so detect everybody who's in a building and put a little dot or a little smiley face on a map for everybody who's in the building. That's right, and there may be good reasons why you might want to just do that on its own. But in addition, of course, you can detect who have got a badge on. And if they've got a badge, you could choose to remove the people with the badges. So it's only the alien presences, only the people who don't have a badge get noticed. This is the opposite of the way the active badge system would normally works. So you can see, classic active badge system, you wear a badge to be seen. The Alien Presence Detector turns that on its head, turns it around, and when you wear a badge, you are invisible.